Hi, testing 1/2. Skip ad. So, hi, hello, happy Sunday, happy 10th of October. What day is it? 11th. Okay, great. One day ahead. So, same agenda as earlier, more reading skills workout. So, not only solve a CAT passage, make it easy, reduce the workload, deploy all our reading skills, basic techniques that we have learned so far, and which can be summarized in 4 ideas. Very simple ideas, just a lot of repetitive practice so that our brain is always focusing on these things. So that's the agenda. This is from CAT 19. In my order, it's passage number 7. Ideally, I want to do 7 and 8, and I want to go a little faster than usual, assuming that you have been continuing this conversation in the last couple of weeks, maybe. No? Yes? Maybe so? Hi, Parvinder. How are you? How's your Sunday going? What's the plan? Hi, Karan. Hi, Ajinkya. KGF. What is KGF? KGF is that movie. Is there a new movie out? So I think it's about time. No, there's still a minute or so. Morning, Maverick ji. Namaskar. So CAT 19.7 and CAT 19-8 is the broad idea. And I think once again it's very easy. If I'm talking to people who have been here for a bit. If not, please start with the basic playlist. Go through that. If you are in that high intensity zone because the exam is near, you can learn this pretty quickly. In 5-6 days, you can imbibe the process. Then any future live or a pre-recorded CAT workshop will make sense. And it's ask other people who've been here. It's very learnable and doable, and it is kind of giving you very high returns very quickly. So do pay attention to the words coming out of my mouth. Shall we get started? So this is the passage. I hope it's readable on the screen. I will move it down a little. Yeah, ready to go? Great. So I start reading. Okay, let's start from the bottom only. Just to break that habit that you don't have to start from the top. And I'm starting from the last paragraph. And what I want you to pay attention to is the act of asking questions and building a story along, rather than just reading passively line by line or being a servant to fate. Instead, use your free will and make decisions while reading. So I am at the last paragraph. I have no clue what this is about. It says there is another issue for some archaeologists and art historians. Okay. So I want to pay attention to this. My computer has slowed down considerably. Shall try a little different format. So there is another issue. What does this another issue tell you guys? If I pay attention to this, just somebody says there is another issue. What does it tell you? I don't even want to say it. And I'm sure when I ask such a question, the answer almost comes instantly. But that's the process that most people don't use while reading. Slow down, Ankur. There's a lag in communication. I have a question. If I am at the last paragraph and I read there is another issue, what does it tell me? Very good, right? Obvious level deduction. And by the way, somebody was asking me what is inference. This is what an inference is. When you heard there is another issue, heard or read, you concluded or inferred that in the information above there might be other issues. So the process of inference is as simple as that. A lot of people are very confused about what inference means, so all kinds of stories are shared. So I hope you understand what's happening. So I'm getting two ideas here. One, that historians and archaeologists have issues with something, and this is another issue. That means there is earlier issue and this is a new issue. These people have it. They have it with what? So let me read a little more. Sea Arc owns the copyright of the scans. Which scans is my mind going? Not the countries where these sites are located. Which sites are located? That means the countries need SEAC's permission to use these images for commercial purposes. Okay, great. I do not know what the main issue is, but I have still understood that countries don't own the right. SIARC owns the right, and the countries need permission to get that idea. Have I got the idea? Have I got the idea of the issue? The issue is SEAC's owns the copyright. Let me throw in some color. What's the point of teaching on a computer? Right? So for this paragraph, if I think, okay, what is the issue? I see the issue is that somebody owns the copyright, countries don't own the copyright, and they have to take the SEAC's permission. Does it really matter what has happened in the paragraph? Can I still make sense of cat invasion? Can I still make sense of this information? Yes, I can. Yes? Yes, everybody's yes. I will not slow down. Now, I want to repeat those key ideas, right? When I read Erin Thompson, a professor of art crime, whoever this person is, what is the context of mentioning this person? What is he going to do? Is he going to talk about cricket and the weather? Or what? Why is the author talking about this person saying something? Right? And that is another basic fundamental reading structures question. What is the purpose of this kind of information? Some of you might be very familiar by now with this process. Yes, we can. Obama. Who's mama? Are we getting the question? This is day one level reading. There is an idea and there is an elaboration. A writer, an author, a speaker presents an idea, but nobody will believe that idea. So he has to present what his uncle said, what the professor said. So whatever this professor is saying, what is the purpose of that piece of information? Maverick, he will tell us why it's bad for a company to own the rights instead of the country. Either that, I mean, let's say if I have not read it, either that or the overall issue, right? The issue will be further elaborated by this author. So we can do that, but I'm going to jump right now and not worry about it, right? Jump where? Jump backwards. Critics say, okay, critics of what? I saw an issue later. The issue isn't who owns the copyright. Critics say that means another issue or the previous issue. The collaboration could be an attempt by large corporation to wrap itself in the sheen of culture. Critics say this is the issue. I'm not even interested in the whole sentence. I am understanding that critics are pointing out to a problem. Now I can read the sentence again slowly if you want to. Please do that while I add color. What's life without color? Critics say, so I am definitely getting the whole passage is about criticism against a particular activity or a plan. I have read what, 4 sentences. I think I have a very good idea of what is going to happen in the passage because I have seen such passages earlier. Issue, counter issue, argument, counter argument, criticisms of a process. We just in videos we have done it like 20-25 times, right? Correct, right? So here again this paragraph, this is the idea. Critics are saying that the issue is that the corporation will try to wrap itself in the sheen of culture. So corporation is trying to basically appropriate culture for its own gains. That's the idea that I'm getting. Now once again the story starts. Ethan Wottrall, an archaeologist. Once again, why do you think this person is mentioned in the paragraph? What is he going to do? Any study, right? A study shows this is the same thing. Instead of a study, you're quoting a knowledgeable person. My question is once again, I haven't read what Ethan Wottrall says, but can I guess what is he going to say? Is he going to talk about the weather, cricket, the Bollywood drug scandal? Pointless. Or is he going to talk about what? What is he going to talk about? Tell me. It is the same question as earlier. I'm just in the brainwashing stage, right? I'll wait. Maverick, he will tell us how the corporations are trying to wrap itself around the culture of country. Well done, Maverick. How clarity, right? Parvinder, focus on the main issue. Parvinder, clarify a little more. What issue? The issue that because the more you repeat that central idea. Right now, notice I'm not reading the rest of the paragraph. I'm still with that first line only, right? The similar proportion should be given by you. Again, to elaborate or give an example or strengthen the point in the previous sentence. So I'm saying articulate the point also, and the point is you don't have to use your own words. It is clearly in bold, bigger than other things, kind of a clarity is required, right? So collaboration will try to hide under the sheen or incorporate in the sheen of culture. If I want to, I can read the rest of it, but let me not do that right now. Of course, I can do that later, right? And if I do a little more of a preview, I'll find out that it's about, okay, let's not do that. Let me keep asking questions. I jump to the previous paragraph, the images of the temples in Bagan. So I read in the last paragraph the images of the site, copyright, images of a temple. Once again, ask yourself, what is the point of the talking? What is the point of talking about this particular temple in the purpose of the story? Why is the author talking about this temple? And you can read the rest of the information to articulate a better answer. Please hit the like button, Mahakal. I won't even say the whole thing anymore. Brevity is the virtue of the wise. My question is, the images of the temples in Bagan. I read this, I have some idea that the issue is not the temple in Bagan, the issue is critics pointing out a problem with technology companies and something to do with culture and photos and copyright, right? That's the broad cloud that I have. Karan, temple because copyrights are owned by the corporation, not by the country. So Karan, you're thinking in the right direction, but you're using information from later paragraphs. You can't do that because the later paragraph hasn't yet happened if you follow the right order, right? But yeah, overall it is going to either explain the process or the problems with the process. So let me read it a little more because the sentences are very easy to read anyway. The images of the temples in Bagan are part of the collaboration with CR, a non-profit that creates the 3D scanning of historic sites. Okay, great. So what sites, what copyright? Copyright of these images, these historic sites by this company, CR or whatever non-profit, and Google is also tied in with this. And so this is just explaining how the process works. There is no criticism here right now. Say yes if you understand that this is more of an explanation of how Google or CR work, not necessarily the problem in that. The problem starts in the next paragraph. Critics say, right? So idea explained and then the problem with the idea. Again, a very common text structure. Yes, so while reading, this is how you have to think, and what will happen if you do it like this is, one, you will understand better. Your load in terms of how much you have to read will be reduced because time is a factor in the exam. Otherwise, concentration is also a limited resource. So if you keep spraying it on every sentence, you won't have that sharp laser focus to break through, open the passage up completely for yourself. And at least while training, I want that 100% I understand what's happening in the passage. Questions, so we do anyway. It's never a challenge if the passage is clear. Okay, so the images of the temples in Bagan are about explaining the story. So even this temples of Bagan is a specific general idea, historical sites. Temple of Bagan, a specific case of a historical site. Chapter 1, day 1 video on general specific, or the fourth video on general specific. Moving on, I go back and I read, but that's changing. What's changing is your question. So I jump back and I read, when it comes to archaeological treasures, the losses have been mounting. So, okay, there have been a lot of losses in archaeological treasures. Think for a second, some building gets destroyed, some statue gets vandalized, so there is a lot of loss. ISIS blew up parts. Once again, notice it's happening at a sentence level. Idea and then elaboration. ISIS blew up parts of the ancient city of Palmyra in Syria, and an earthquake hit Bagan. These are specifics, right? They are not as important as the main idea that losses have been happening. So if I ask you, the temple in Palmyra and the temple in Bagan, why are they mentioned? Yes, yes, yes. You know, a diamond can be given to a person like on the lay street, or a rock, ordinary rock, and they will not know the difference. Or if you've been used to these rocks, then even if somebody gives you a diamond, you'll be like, another rock. Correct, to show that losses are mounting. So I hope you see what's happening. Now notice, in the past something happened, but that's changing. What happened in the past? All archaeologists and historians had for restoration and research were photos, drawings, remnants, and intuition. So this was the past, and now I can extrapolate. But because of Google Earth technology, cameras, infrared sensor, whatever, now you can take the scans, 3D scans of the site. So great. Now I think the idea is very, very clear to me in terms of the what the technology is, what is happening, and what the critics are saying. I saw two issues. One of them that Google is trying to get inside culture, and the second later that's who owns the copyright. So I'm getting a very clear idea of the passage. Yes, yes. I start with the first line now. War, natural disasters, and climate change are destroying some of the world's most precious cultural sites. Google is trying to help preserve. If I started from the beginning, also I could have understood this idea very well, but just as a process, right? So Google is trying to help preserve these archaeological wonders, and now notice a big but. There's a famous rap song about reading skills, that how a learner. I was going, this is happening, but the project is raising questions about Google's motivation. That's it. The whole idea is given here. So the other thing, if you understand this process well, what you could have done is you started from the top, you read this, you understood instantly that the rest of the passage is going to be about issues with the process of digitization of these ancient historical sites. Say yes if you understand. I don't know the name, I do know the lyrics. I'm kidding. There's a song called I Like Big Butts. I can't deny, I won't deny. I will find the link and share it. And this is a big butt, so I'm making a joke. Hopefully, not being asleep. Right, so now I have a very good idea. Reading further is up to you. The link was put up in the chat. If you scroll back or rewind, you will find it. Or don't worry about it. Let's try out the questions and we can always come back to the passage required. Seriously बोल रहा हूँ. I like it's a So question answer time. Based on his views mentioned in the passage, one could best characterize Dr. Watrall as being one. I know where Dr. Watrall is if I have basic concentration going. Uh, and I also know his context was that he is not happy with Google incorporating itself in the culture scene. So, just for clarity, let me go back and read that part. Or let's read it together. Read this part and then we look at the question. You already know the main issue, but he might have a little bit of a detail here and there. So be very clear about that. Akshat, there is a whole course for CAT 21. Follow the link in the description box, find the CAT 21 course page and then join it. Have you read it? So this Ethan Watrall, the professor at Michigan State University, blah blah blah, member of society, says he's not. So notice all of this, professor, blah, where he's from is like, I want to go through this information quickly and eliminate it. Says he's not comfortable between the arrangement between CARC and Google. Watrall says this project is just a way for Google to promote Google. They want to make this material accessible so people will browse it and will be filled by wonder by it. He says, but at its core, it's all about advertisements and driving traffic. Waterall says these images belong on the site of a museum or educational institution where there is serious scholarship and a very different mission. And then another issue starts altogether. So whatever you need is here. Now I hope you have read it and understood it. Let's go to the question. A little rearrangement. Based on his views. Question. And another thing that we have been discussing is using pure logic / common sense and the thrust of the main idea. So idea plus logic and evaluating the options. So we'll see that again today a couple of times. Just how common sense is enough to mark the right answer. Fashion blogging 101. So 3, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Everybody marked 3 and one person said 4. Okay, so let's see 3 and 4. 3 says uneasy about the marketing of archaeological images for commercial use by firms such as Google and Sayar. It's a very tempting option, but if you go back and look at that paragraph that we just read, nowhere does it. I mean, it says that Google is promoting itself and Google is doing it for traffic and for advertising revenue. Is anyone marketing these images? Advertising and marketing are similar words, but they mean different things. Google is an advertising provider, right? Somebody wants to visit our site and they see a Google ad there. Is Google marketing these images, or is Google benefiting by people visiting the page and maybe making money via the advertising, or just promoting Google? Look how cool we are. Google is everything, right? So I hope that idea is hitting here, and therefore then in that case, critical about the links between a non-profit and a commercial tech platform for distributing archaeological images. Because if you go back to the paragraph, in that long sentence, all he said was, I mean, Google promote itself, ad traffic and advertising, maybe not marketing, advertising. And then finally he said these images belong to the institutions, not these tech giants. So this is the best possible option, though I do consider this question to be slightly difficult because this option will trap a lot of people unless they are very careful that was it marketing, was those images being marketed by for some other purpose, etc. No. Okay, and it's okay. Error making is not a problem, and sometimes, let's say, out of these 5 questions, one will be tough, right? There's that one set in DILR which takes 30 minutes to solve. So you're not supposed to dive into it. Though in reading, because you'll have a lot of time, I suggest going through everything and going for high attempts also. Not in a hurry, but even slowly as such. So don't worry about it. This is the kind of question which is easy then, which will take hardly any time. The by digital colonialism, critics of the CR Google project are referring to the fact that first see if you can answer it commonsensically, then if required, we'll go back and investigate the paragraphs as well. So we right now did not even see this word digital colonialism, maybe, right? Let's assume for a second that we did not see this word. But we know what colonialism is, where somebody comes and takes over your, takes away your stuff, right? And it's digital, and I know it's about companies taking these images. I did read about them owning the copyright and the country not owning the copyright, right? And that much should be hint, hint. So, one person said two, Devarpita said two, the scanning process can damage delicate frescoes and statues at the sites. The two issues that you saw in the passage was, one was technology companies trying to get into the culture scene, right? They want to be a part of it. And the second was, who owns the copyright? Did you see anywhere that it is damaging to the structure or the site? Not anywhere in the passage so far. It is unlikely that it will be hidden in some small information. So 2 is definitely not my answer. I hope it is making sense. And even again, errors are okay, because sometimes we are in a hurry and we're like, oh yeah, that connection. Press the buzzer. Now, I think everybody got it right. Countries where the scan sites are located do not own the scan copyrights. Plus, we read this information even if I did not read this part. But just to be sure and for fun, some critics call it digital colonialism. Now, what happens is this digital colonialism starts here, but then we go into the general process of why digitization is happening, etc., etc., and then the critics start off. And then they mention one issue and the second issue, and this part that CR owns the copyright is the digital colonialism part. And so let's talk about colonialism also. If you go to these British, French museums, which are like very fancy, there is a conversation these days that all your fancy items are a product of loot. You went to Africa, you destroyed the economy, you used them as slave labor, and then you took away all their cultural artifacts and put them in your museums, and they are now bloody poor, right? So this is a common conversation. And what do I mean by a common conversation? Where is it happening? Are your friends talking about it? Of course not, they're not talking about it, right? But if you follow the newspapers, the magazine, the pop culture scene on a daily basis, you will see this is a very modern trend. The problems of colonialism, right? The problems of slavery. Black Lives Matter was happening, and they were like, you've been using us for 400 years, and now you're like not giving us our basic rights as well, and torturing us, which is happening in India as well, by the way. Are we okay with this question? I think we got it by common sense, right? Let's try the next one. Maverick, that is the way to live, right? Whenever you find something interesting, and by the way, as you grow up, you will realize that everything is interesting or nothing is, and preferences kind of vanish. But for reading, that's definitely the way to go. When you find one link, one piece of information, find another. Pretty much what we are doing at a passage level in the real world level. This is the next question, guys. Maverick has already fired his answer. Buzzer round, double or nothing. The house always wins. Maverick says D, Karan says 4, Sujit says 4. And if you guys are actually getting the answer and not getting the answer from the answer key, then notice that we haven't still read the whole passage. We have read very few details, and we are mostly getting the answers right for the easy ones at least. So can we do that part at least? Tia says 4, Devarpita says 4, Jyotsna says 4, Chandan says 4. Everybody is perfect. Give yourself some self-love Sunday. CARC uploads scanned images of archaeological sites into museum sites only. If that happens, then his issue that they should belong to museums and institutions will get resolved, and that's it. So congratulations, I applaud thee for getting the answer right, because sometimes I've experienced that you show everything, even then the answer can go wrong. And that's not because of logic or anything, that's voltage fluctuation in the mind also, by the way. In Dr. Thompson's view, common sense, logic only, guys. See if you can get it. Maverick says, why not one? Let me just scroll back for a second. Why not one? Google takes down advertisements on his website. Remember, he said Google advertisement, Google promoting itself, and that these images belong on these institutional sites. So this is only partially true, not fully as good as the option 4, right? Back to the question. Dr. Thompson happened in that last paragraph, if for memory's sake. Karan has fired his answer. Buzzer round, double or nothing. House always wins. To be Sujit says 4. Anybody else? Sujit has retracted his no, has 4. Take your time, read the sentences, think about what was the main logic. If you want to go back for a quick peek, I'll take you back. I'm nice like that. This Erin Thompson, and this Eric Thompson was in this issue that SEAC owns the copyrights, and this was the issue of digital colonialism, right? So that's the context, and that should be enough to get to the answer. I rest my hat. So Parvinder says 2, Sujit says 4, Josna says 2, Chaitya says 2. So let's check 2 and 4. Let's check 4. Digital platforms capturing users' data for market research. Now, this might be similar in terms of, okay, we are taking your data without your permission, but you have to get to Dr. Thompson's view, right? So that's going to be part of the process. I'm talking to those who said 4. That happens, voltage fluctuation, Maverick. Maverick was asking why did I'm so confused why I got the first answer wrong when I got it right earlier. That's voltage fluctuation, guys. You know everything, and then you can still end up pressing the wrong button. Wait for a few more years, it happens more and more. Voltage gets fluctuating. Okay, so compared to that, digital colonialism is still your keyword, if you understood that, because the whole thing is being called colonialism. The most common example, the perfect example is this: Egyptian artifacts by Western museums. You'll find that mummies are not there in Egyptian museums, but in French and British and American museums, right? So that's and they don't own the rights. So that would be, so just using that digital colonialism, plus common sense, tapasya, meditation to unleash intelligence, better nutrition, everything goes. 2 it is, I think 2 it is as well. Again, I think this is a sitter again. Please don't get, if I say it's a sitter and you're not getting it, please don't get discouraged. I'm generally pointing out to the overall logic. Personally, it could be very difficult, very easy, depending on time of the day. So when I say it's easy, I mean you will soon realize that yeah, this was the easier category. Please try it out. Pay attention. Of the following arguments, which one is least likely to be used by the companies that digitally scan cultural sites? So think of the companies that are scanning. You want to present arguments from their side, right? They want to. Why will they present arguments? They will present arguments against this criticism. So to counter that, what will you say and what will you not say? So, because there have been almost now we are hitting too many sessions territory and the naming is all awkward. If you're a course member, I strongly recommend going through the whole list, listening and absorbing as well. Even if you solve the passage on your own and you're okay, still listen and let me brainwash you for a couple of weeks at least. De-brainwash you. Wash actually, yeah, wash only. 3 for 3, correct. Of the following arguments, it allows a large corporation to project itself as a protector of culture. Will they present this when that is already a criticism that you are trying to basically deep dive into culture and claim it as your own? So, because this is a valid argument, it enables people who cannot physically visit these sites to experience them. This is what I will say in front of the jury. No, we are not criminals. We are doing it for other people. It helps preserve precious images. Yeah, that is a valid reason. It provides images free of cost to all users. Okay, fair enough. Cost is low, but this that we are projecting. Will any person say this? Right? Basically, is incriminating himself. So that's how commonsensical a question can be, provided we reach the questions a little fresh, not too burdened by truckloads of information and be overwhelmed by it. So the first task is to keep it simple so that you're in that breathing space and the problem solving zone, not in trying to remember what happened in the passage. Are we okay with this? Yes, no, maybe so. Ninjutsu, taijutsu, genjutsu. So now what to do? Another passage? What to do? Read the Sunday newspaper. So forever, this is for Cat 21 people. Get reading the newspaper. You don't have to read fancy websites, or I mean you can, and it's good. Why not? But at least start with the basic newspaper. The TV channels have completely lost it, but newspapers are still reasonably functioning. TOI, Indian Express, Hindu will do. If you're a beginner, start with TOI and the Indian Express. If you want to challenge yourself a lot, start with Hindu. Problem with Hindu in most cities is that it comes a day late. So get that web app or whatever, right? But daily reading, just finding out what's happening in the world is like bare minimum. Plus your language improves and you're more employable, better looking, more fashionable if you get the language part going. So, but that's for Sunday newspaper. I actually lost it. Yeah. So much happened, like just in today's newspaper. If I start thinking from your point of view, for me, for example, a lot of this stuff is, I mean, you've read it so many times that there's not too much value, and you can't barely finish it because you know, okay, whatever, so many issues in the world, right? But if you're a young person curious about the world, it's like a very juicy place to be. The Sunday newspaper version, especially, is like full of color for starters, and a lot of other interesting articles compared to day newspapers. So Sujit says thank you. The thumbnail is dope, and Sujit says a passage on theology, religion, philosophy. Sujit, if you follow my sessions, you will figure out that I do not categorize the passages by subject. It's the most pointless thing to do. Write it down somewhere. What do I use? What is common between religion, theology, philosophy, and business marketing, and psychology, and science and technology, and esoteric, occult magic? The common thing is the use of but, however, kintu, parantu, lekin. The common thing is idea and elaboration. The common thing is connection between pronouns. The common tool is reading actively. Yes, some passages are heavy on words, they're high on pronouns. I've done a different session altogether on how to tackle difficult passages. So please take a look at it. It will resolve reading for you because it's a tool. It doesn't matter what the subject is for your purposes and your age level appropriateness as such, right? But I will do it. I'm your slave. People pay me for this, so now whatever they say, I do it. Earlier I would say ki no, you don't need it, but now if you say I will do it, I'll do it. But I hope you get the point. Any food for brain kind of activity. This is one, and then I've been sharing a lot of these channels to follow. Read the Sunday newspaper, that would be good enough. Let me point just one article. This is like, oh wow. So this article, middle of the Sunday paper, from survival of the friendliest, we have now gone to survival of the shameless. And if I read a little bit here, there, he basically says that the human beings have been designed, or let's say they have evolved into friendliness, and cooperation and friendliness is the most important tool. And then he points out something very interesting, which is useful for everyone. So when this pandemic happened, there were a lot of reports of people stealing all the toilet paper, especially in America, right? Hoarding. People are running away with stuff and like preparing for apocalypse all by themselves. So the writer in this article says that that's only a small percentage of the people. In most cases, in most of these situations, you will see an explosion of altruism, right? That means people start helping other people, and that's a biological evolutionary trait because that's how we differ from the chimpanzees or the Neanderthals. That not only we can cooperate, we can cooperate at a very large scale. And he even mentions the pandemic, that how in this particular pandemic people have worked together, right? People have put on a mask, because a lot of people say I will not put on a mask, I do not care, but people are cooperating with other people, and that's the norm, and that's the most special human advantage. I have only paraphrased the amount of juice this article has. This is longer, slightly bigger, but and very, very interesting, if because it's information, right? And your brain thrives on information for now. So Sunday newspaper, very, 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 very important. Is it mirrored or something? Yeah. So do read the Sunday paper. What was the name of the Genghis book Khan? I keep it. This is like Bible for me. Oh, it might be flipped, right? Is it flipped? Yeah. Right. Okay. So that's for the books. Shall we try one more passage? Maverick wanted to do 19.8. Shall we try that? Author name for Genghis Khan is Jack Weatherford. Though, if you just beginning and starting out to read, there is another book that I have recommended earlier on the same guy, which is a fiction 4-book trilogy, which might be way more fun, especially if you watch it like a binge watching TV thing and finish it in 3, 4, 7, 8 days. You'll have a lot of fun, learn a lot. But this is quite interesting as well. The thing is, as you grow, as you learn more things become interesting, right? So for beginners and high level, I mean, more experienced people, there's always a little difference in how they perceive whether something is interesting or not. Are we doing one more passage, or has Sunday fever? I think everybody has dozed off. Break, is this that break between that class? I think I'm still mostly talking to myself only. Might as well do pre-recorded. Right, so let's start with the 19 dash dot 8, and let's go a little faster. And I think I have mentioned this example in another small micro training session. Say if I am starting with the second paragraph, not everything is efficient in the slums, though. Let me capture that though as well. Yeah, what does this tell you about the previous paragraph? That's your day level, day 1, day 2 active reading kind of a game, right? Acha, let's see. So my question first of all is, if I read this line, not everything is efficient in the slums though, what does it tell me about the previous paragraph? Very good. Something efficient about slums in para 1, right? If I am reading the second paragraph and I read not everything is efficient in the slums though, that means some things might be efficient and then I can check it. The magic of squatter cities is that they are improved steadily and gradually by their residents. Okay, great. To a planner's eye, these cities look chaotic. I trained as a biologist, and to my eye, they look organic. Squatter cities are also unexpectedly green. Great. They have maximum density, 1 million people per square mile, and have minimum energy and material use. People get around by foot, bicycle, rickshaw, and the universal shared taxi. This is talking about the efficiency in the slum. And I'm getting a point of view already. Squatter cities are great, maybe in some senses. So, not everything is efficient in the slums, though. In the Brazilian favelas where electricity is stolen. Now, again, I ask you, when I go into this Brazilian favela is the name for those slums. If you watch those Brazilian gangster movies, you will understand. Very important. So when I go into Brazilian favelas, I'm doing a specific of the general idea of slums. And what idea? The idea being that they're not so efficient, because efficiency I've already spoken about. So in the Brazilian favelas where electricity is stolen and therefore free, people leave their lights on all day. This is an example of not being efficient. But in most slums, recycling is literally a way of life. Once again, Notice, and this is which the thing that you need to grab, very, very important, right? I read this sentence, in most slums, recycling is literally a way of life. I know a lot of this is going to be elaboration. Can I not read it? Yes, I cannot read it. Tell me if you understand. Main idea is this. Let me throw in some color. What is life without color? And this is the elaboration. Typically, when I share those RC snapshots, I would code it, color code it like so. I will strike through and give it a boxy feeling. So if you ever get an image in your inbox and I'm just sending an image, what that means is it's a reminder that this line was very important, rest was elaboration. Say yes if you understand, and yeah, I'm guessing you understand this idea very well. In his 1985 article, Cal Thorpe, what will Cal Thorpe talk about? These quarter cities only. Cal Thorpe made a statement that still jars with most people. What is that statement? The city is the most environmentally benign form of human settlement. Slow down, computer death. And once again, you will see the same idea in action. The city is the most environmentally benign form of human settlement, and each city dweller, the rest of the information is going to be what is once again. You can read it if you want to, but while reading, start with the question and keep thinking along, right? And categorize it quickly. So I read it, I know the rest of it is going to be elaboration. And if you are reaching that point of boredom with this idea, you are on the right track, right? Because you've understood it so well. Read it, read it. So the contention is city is the most environmentally benign. Benign means harmless form of human settlement. The rest of the paragraph is going to explain why it is benign. Just master this skill, your scores and comprehension will improve almost instantly overnight. Not overnight, because you can learn it, but then it requires a little bit of confidence to believe it, right? Learning is easy. Yes, are we okay with this idea? So once again, my way of color coding, right, just to understand those, because a lot of times I've simply taught and it has worked with some people by just sharing these images, right? So these are, this is a very slow version of the same thing. No, sorry. Color. So this is my idea for the paragraph, and the rest of it is not minor, but details that I can do without for beginners. For starters, I mean. Great. So I have a map going also. The first couple of paragraphs are about how efficient they are, and efficiency again means greenness only, right? And in this, if I want to go for the details, I hope you did that before I color coded it. Each city dweller consumes less land, less energy, less water, green city essentially, right? Densities. Green Manhattan was the inflammatory title of 2000 New Yorker article by David Owen, another guy, and again he will say the same thing. By the most significant measures, he wrote, New York is the greenest community in the United States. Why has the author mentioned New York? New York is a specific of the general idea of the city, right? And that's why master general specific. And it is one of the greenest cities in the world. The key to New York's relative environmental benignity is its extreme compactness. Placing blah 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 blah. I have got the idea, I'll move on, right? Urban density allows half of humanity to live on 2.8% of the land. Consider just the infrastructure efficiencies. According to the report, once again, what do reports do? They elaborate the idea that efficiencies, urban density allows efficiency. The UN report, what is it going to do? Read before reading, anticipate, predict, it's like magic. The concentration of population and enterprise in urban areas greatly reduces the unit cost of piped water, sewers, drains, roads, electricity, garbage collection, transport, healthcare, and schools. What is it trying to say? Compactness is very, very useful. The nationally subsidized city of Manaus in northern Brazil. Once again, don't read further. Ask yourself, why is this city in northern Brazil mentioned? What is the overall purpose? Yeah, slum city is quarter city. So, so this city is an example of answers the question of how to stop deforestation. Now, once again, stop right now. And if the paragraph is saying that this city is an example of how to stop deforestation, what do you think is going to happen in the rest of the paragraph? Predict, then read. I will go, continue to go. Give people decent jobs, then they can afford houses and gain security. 100,000 people who would otherwise be deforesting the jungle around Manaus are now prospering in town, making such things as mobile phones and television. Great, give them jobs, they will stop cutting the forest. Of course, fast growing cities are far from the unmitigated good. What is going to happen in this paragraph? Ask yourself, answers are all there. Galactic power is inside you and all around you also. I hope there is a lag between us in terms of technology, but I hope you're thinking fast along. Fast growing cities are far from unmitigated good. That means there are some bads also. In this, there will be bads. They concentrate crime, pollution, disease, and injuries, such as and injustice, as much as business, innovation, education, and entertainment. So they promote business, innovation, education, and entertainment, but crime, pollution, disease also. But if they are overall a net, but if they are overall a net good for those who move there, it is because cities offer more than just jobs. They are transformative. In the slums as well as the office towers and leafy suburbs, the progress is from hick to metropolitan to cosmopolitan. Okay, great. And I have uh, gone through the passage enough. Now, this is a question which I tried in another video without the passage at all, without any access to the passage, no reading, nothing. This is under that category of idea that a lot of it is commonsensical, logic driven, vocabulary driven. If you just know the meaning of the word, you can get the answer. I think the example was it has a long history. There was a word that they used, pedigree. The one paragraph said something about a pedigree. If you know pedigree, it means a long line, a long traditional line, and you could have answered the question just by that. So I think you can do the same here, even if you did not read the passage, but we have. So please do try it out. Which one of the following statements would undermine the author's stand regarding the greenness of cities? What is the author's stand? Just to be clear, I mean, you don't need it for this question, but author's stand is that cities are green. They're compact, because of that they are green. They help with forest deforestation also, reforestation rather, and they keep people together and employed and happy. So everybody got it right? Even the last time when I shared it, most people did get it right. Why? Because we're talking about greenness of cities. And rest of the options, the companies, compactness of big cities in West increases the incident of violent crime. What has crime got to do with greenness? Unless you have mixed up all ideas together, not the answer. Sorting through rubbish contributes to the rapid spread of disease in the slums. Again, disease is not connected to greenness at all. Over the last decades, the cost of utilities has been increasing. Blah, blah, blah. I hope you see why. Question 2. So the answer is option 3, right? Let's see if the answer key is right. Sometimes there is a typo or something. Answer is option C, correct. That's because Maverick was saying that there's a problem. Let's see, question number 2. According to the passage, squatter cities are environmentally friendly. This is again a common sense level question. Guys, when I say this, no, all of the shortcut technique, etc., before that, ideally, you and I have put a lot of work with words and basic reading and general looking at this idea a few times. This is the end of the season level of workshop and delivery, right? Maverick, very good. No? Because keeping the streets clean has nothing to do with greenness or environmentally friendliness. Right? In fact, if you put garbage on the street and then cockroaches come and then new organisms come out and fungus grows there, it is very environmentally friendly. Environment is not you, environment is you and everything else, right? So I hope we see how easy it is, and most passages are like this. Some passages are slightly more difficult, denser to read. Whenever that happens, we have different, the same techniques deployed at a higher intensity. Sit up straight and start following the pronoun. Keep asking questions more intensely. Stick to a sentence. Look at how my body language has changed just by saying difficulty, right? So that will be needed. For this, you can relax. Yes. So everybody got the answer, I'm assuming. So we shall mark it. We can infer that Calthorpe's statement still jars. What is the meaning of still jars, first of all? To jar means to shake something, right? So, or disturbs, I'm very jarred. It was a very jarring experience. I was walking on the street and a tempo hit me. It was a very jarring experience, physically jarring. I was walking on the street and somebody honked very loudly. I got jarred. So, or the jar is also where you put cookies into it. Maverick has given the answer as B. We can infer why does it disturb people was the question. Anybody else? Maverick has given me an answer. Now, this word, no, we can infer, and people will say, oh, this is an inference question. Do this question, but maybe inference question, blah, blah. Lot of bullshit out there, guys, just for a word. Use a dictionary, find the meaning of infer, and you'll be done. 222. Is it peer pressured answer where everybody gets the same answer? So the question was almost commonsensical. Why do you think people will get disturbed if you tell them that cities are environmentally friendly? Because they must believe that they are not environmentally friendly. That's as simple as that. Hidden in the answer, and with a lot of exam pressure and the pressure created by janta and teacher to each other, and this will feel very difficult, but it's not. I can show you the paragraph again, but you don't need it. Let's go to the paragraph. This is the Calthorpe bit. Because then it goes into explaining how it is green. It doesn't explain why are people getting jarred, right? So the question is common sense. Why do you think somebody is getting disturbed? If I tell you that, if you tell people that Earth is not flat and they get very disturbed, what can you infer about them? Right? That's how easy it is. What is the answer? C was right, D was right. Okay, A. Could be A also, no? Regard cities as places of disease and crime. No, can't be A, guys. So this is a typo. Let me fix that, and I will add to the. Uh, it should be B. So great. Sorry for the typo, guys. Typing is my or adding these sheets is my least favorite activity, and where my voltage goes very very low. Are we okay with that? Articles on flat earth, bro. The earth is flat, obviously, and there is like earth, below earth there is like a big giant turtle who's standing on top of an elephant, who's floating in an ocean which is known as Vishnu. These are facts. Can we move on? Again, oh wow, I raised this question by myself even before reading the passage. In the context of the passage, the author refers to Manaus in order to. So, where was Manaus mentioned? And we can go back there if you want. I did highlight it somewhere. Manaus, yeah. The nationally subsidized city of Manaus in northern Brazil answers the question on how to stop deforestation, right? And how they did it, they did it by creating employment. And you read later that instead of going into the forest and cutting trees, they're now making mobile phones. So you know the idea now, and try out the question. Easy enough, right? How they help the environment. Deforestation, stopping deforestation is helping the environment. That's the only adjustment in words translation that you need to make, and rest you are good to go. The answer is A. Let's check the answer key. Okay. This is the fifth question, right? Yeah. Sorry guys, wrong answer key here. Normally when that happens before the video comes out, I kind of know, and then in the pre-recorded video everything gets fixed. So, but apologies for the trouble. Last question. Yay, we're done. So I fixed it, right? Now I have the, I will put it up, I will update the document on the site as well. From the passage, it can be inferred that cities are good places to live in for all of the following reasons, except sorry for that feeling of, but that's also needed time to time, a little wake up call. Yes, everybody is saying this is the last question answer that you're giving, right? Everybody is saying 3, and no, okay. Sujit says 4. Anybody else with any answers for this question? They offer employment opportunities, definitely. So this is a reason for why to live in a city. Can't be the answer. They help prevent destruction of the environment. I definitely saw that. Can't be the answer. Now between these two is where we are left. Call a friend, use a lifeline, and then let's see. Yeah, lots of crows outside. Jai Mahakal. So, what is our final answer? Have we given up already? So, contribute to the cultural transformation of residents. Do we have in, because I skipped a lot of details, but they are transformative. Progresses from a hick to a metropolitan to a cosmopolitan. Yes, no. Yes, we can go back to the passage, and later on your own you can always do that. But for now, I'm saying, is this enough? Is there a transformation? And what kind of transformation? What is a hick, by the way? Hick, one hick town. Yes, no. Those who were confused about C. Hey, why? Physically fit. Physically fit. I'm waiting for your answers, guys. They come very slow. So when I ask a question, I'm like, okay, what is your answer? So somebody said that I'm confused between C and D, right? Or option 3 and option D. And a lot of people rejected it, I think because they couldn't connect the word together. But I hope you see why now I'm saying that C is not the answer. Right? They are transformative. Now, Parvinder says leafy suburbs is given as a pro. Where can I? Okay, I can just look for it. Leafy. It's not given as a pro, Parvinder. Think carefully, read again. They are transformative in the slums as well as the office towers and leafy suburbs. Leafy suburbs, in the office towers and in the slums, there is progression or transformation from hick to metropolitan to cosmopolitan, right? Which is what we are going through also, by the way. So what is, when, if I say metropolitan, I used to be a hick and now have become cosmopolitan. What kind of a transformation is it if you say it's not cultural? Moreover, moreover, is this an advantage given anywhere that they have suburban areas as well as office areas? I invite you to go through the whole passage and you will see, yes, cities have suburban areas and office areas, but is that given as the advantage of living in the city And the answer is no. Thama. Yes, no. Okay, okay. Also, guys, between my very tired state and very high energy state, there is a zero gap. Like in 1 minute, I can feel very tired and sleepy as crazy, and the next minute, I'll be like, ah. So there's no. Okay, so I think, and it's okay if you got the answer right. Notice some of them were very easy. Get those right going. And okay, let's ignore the answers right part as well. Did we learn and see the same operations in action again? That there is an idea and then there is an elaboration. At least I can reduce my load. Let's say whatever your question answering level was before you started the journey with me, I ignore that completely and I say, can you learn this at least? Then again, there is an idea and then there is an elaboration. Can I understand that New York is a specific of this one idea? Can I understand that Manao is a specific of this another idea? Right? So that's the game. Right? So if you're struggling, if you're a beginner, learn to master this game. Let's say, imagine whatever your level of accuracy remains with the question, at least your time will be reduced and your focus and clarity will be higher than usual. And in case these ideas are not making sense, start with the basic playlist and finish all of it. Very good. 4 out of 5 in this passage. Okay, so that's it for this session. I want today I have declared VARC Niptao Divas. So I want to get done with a couple of more passages as well as odd out from cat questions. We did one yesterday and I want to wrap that up today as well. So there will be multiple sessions today after a little break. So please try and catch up as much as possible and finish it with me today itself, right? Now, between now and the next session, take a break, read a book, watch a movie, eat some food, and then join for the next issue. Are we okay with that? Okay, so I will see you soon. Please hit the like button, tell a friend if they're struggling with RC, tell your family members and get them to, because everyone has 2 3 family members at least, right? So that's it for the day. I shall see you really soon. Mongi Q, Sharingan.